Okay, so the new A24 film, Love Lies Bleeding, now out. So let's talk about it. Okay, so the newest A24 film, Love Lies Bleeding, is now out on the big screen for you guys to go and check out right now. Now, before I get into the review, I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you are people that are part of the discourse about sex scenes in movies, and you don't like them, this is not the movie for you because there are some scenes that do have that stuff in it. So just be warned. Don't go into this movie expecting not to see that because there is. Now, on to the movie itself. Now, this movie, it's a weird one for me. It really is because I like a lot of aspects of this film, but then there's some stuff that just took me out of the movie completely, and I was just sitting there like laughing because it was just ridiculous, which is kind of a shame. So the first half of the movie, like the first actual act of the film itself, is a slow burn. It's all about building the relationship between our two main leads and getting us used to them living together and coexisting and falling in love. That's what the whole first act is. And then we get introduced to other players that are going to play a major part in here, like Ed Harris's character. So it's very much, you're sitting there and you're waiting for something to happen, and it kind of feels like nothing happens really in the first act, and it's frustrating because I understand what they're going for and I understand why they're doing that, and I totally get that, but it just felt like, I don't know, it wasn't really that interesting. It kind of just, the relationship itself travels really, really quickly. So there's no breathing space. There's no time for you to actually digest what's happening. It's like basically almost love at first sight. That's what you kind of get the feel when it comes to this relationship between our two main leads, which I would like to actually dive into a bit more of the psyche of both of them, because they're both broken characters that come from broken backstories. Obviously, we have Lou, who is played by Kristen Stewart, Kristen Stewart is absolutely fantastic in here. I must say, she's great. Her character, we know about her backstory because she's obviously linked with Ed Harris's character, who is her father. So we dive into her backstory a lot. But it's the other character that she falls in love with that we don't really know too much about her backstory. We only know a little bit about it. And what I mean is there's a phone call that's made. It's very just there. And they don't actually touch upon why this person is so broken, which is a shame, because throughout the movie, you see that she struggles in life and what she does because she wants to become a bodybuilder. And I must say, Katie M. O'Brien is ripped in this movie. She's huge, man. She didn't fucking whoop my ass, I'll tell you that now. She's massive in this movie. She wants to be a bodybuilder, her character, and what she's willing to do to get to that point. I like how they conveyed how she's mentally breaking down, but I just wish we got more of the backstory to why she is the way she is and how come she is going down this road, because there's a little snippet there, like I said, about a phone call that just touches not enough of her backstory for me to really want to understand and where she's coming from. So there's that. But look, Ed Harris is great as well as the villain. He just has that aura when he's on screen. Like, when he's there, you just look at him and you're like, man, this is a guy that just commands the screen. So I liked his character as well. Dave Franco's great in here as well. His little part that he has. His character, man, I tell you what, his character's an absolute wanker, though. Absolute wanker. He looks like an absolute wanker. I'm not going to lie. Looks like it, too. But he was fantastic in that role and what he was doing. There's another character in here. She's one of the most annoying characters of all time. She's just there, and it's frustrating because you're like, just piss off. You have no right to be here. But she is. But she obviously plays a part in this film as well. But she's just a character you hate and despise. Now, when you get into the middle part, the middle section of this movie, once stuff starts to, happen and things start to, like dominoes, start to fall in place, it really picks up and it's so interesting. And I was engaged the whole entire time. I was like, okay, this is the movie I came to see. This is the bit that I absolutely loved. Just the way that they were tying the plot points together and the threads and then converting them into one and then having a single focus and moving forward was top tier. It was everything I was expecting from this type of movie. But then you get to the final act and something happens in the final act. And if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to say She-Hulk. She-Hulk. That's all I'm going to say about it is, if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That to me was funny, and it kind of took me out of this movie because at this point, this movie is so grounded in reality that you feel like this could be happening. And then this moment happens in the final act that just kind of takes everything that is real about this movie and turns it into like this fictional science fiction superhero sort of thing. And I'm sitting there like, did we really need to do that? And I just feel like it took away the impact of that moment at the end. I feel like having that silliness to it took away from that impact that I was supposed to feel for Lou in that moment. And I wish they didn't do that, because that kind of just killed the ending of the movie for me. And I was kind of like, oh, now I don't know how I feel about it, because the first bit, I can forgive the first bit for being slow because I understand what they're doing. The middle part, brilliant. Oh, so good. And then you get to the final act and it's kind of dropped. The ball's dropped there. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. It really is. But I must say, some of the shots in here are gorgeous, especially when there's something you see in the trailer where the characters are all red. They're in like a red sort of like coloration background and drop and that. It's really, really good shots. I must say, really good shot. They looked gorgeous on the big screen. The cinematography was great. This really felt like it was back in, I'm going to say probably the 90s. This felt like 90s sort of vibe. It gave me that. Not 80s to 90s. Late 80s, 90s. That's what I would say personally. It probably felt like. But they totally nailed that. The performances are great. The music was decent as well. I really like the music. But yeah, man, it's just that final act that it gave me that little sour taste, which is a shame. It really is. Because I was really enjoying that middle section. So that kind of put a bummer on me. But hey, you guys it might have worked for you. Let me know down in the comment section below if you guys have seen the movie. What are your thoughts? Do you share the same thing with me with the final bit of the movie, with the final act? Let me know. Smash your thoughts down in the comment section below. Smash that like button. Click subscribe. And I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe. And peace out.